Welcome to Tech Transformation with CGT and RAS News. I'm Lisa Johnson, the editor-in-chief of CGT. In this episode, I'm talking with Jeannette Chantalat, Global Head of Innovation and Sustainability Accelerator at Kimberly-Clark. You mentioned working cross-functionally, taking an integrated approach. This is really difficult. I mean, probably more difficult now than ever with our new ways of working. So what can you tell us about some of the ways that you work to get your various stakeholders on board with, especially with sustainability, can be sometimes a more difficult concept to get buy-in across all levels. So what are some of the ways that you're working towards this?
Absolutely. Having multiple stakeholders and a very interdisciplinary view is critical. Innovation, sustainability, and a lot of it starts with even just understanding what builds a culture of innovation. Because we firmly believe that to solve some of the biggest challenges in sustainability, it is through innovation. It is through product innovation, materials, consumer behavior, business models. And so that culture of innovation is incredibly important, and it takes effort. It sounds easy to.
I was going to say, how do you make it not just like a bunch of platitudes?
Yeah, it sounds easy, and I would say there's really two things. It boils down to two things. It's mindset and measures. And when we talk about mindset, it's really about ensuring that we learn quickly. It's all about the race to learn. And when you're racing to learn, you're going to have great successes and you're also going to have failures along the way. So one thing we talk about is failure is not the opposite of success, but actually a part of success. And this mindset of progress over perfection is incredibly important. And we see that, early on when you think about an innovation funnel where you have many ideas coming in, and you know that not all of them can make it all the way to launch. Only the best ideas can survive to actually make it to launch. But on that journey, we're learning every single step of the way and feeding that back into the innovation teams and understanding why did we succeed and why did we fail. That's incredibly important. And making sure that we're constantly learning because our consumers are always changing, our market landscapes are always changing, because we know that when we do something great today, we're just setting the bar higher for tomorrow. So the innovation mindset has to be one of constant learning and progress over perfection. And so we try to make sure that we instill that at every stage, from early front end all the way to launch and even post-launch, to make sure we're getting as much learning as possible from our consumers, from our retailers, and feeding that back in. So that covers sort of that mindset piece. And the second element is really the measures. And we learned this very on in our innovation transformation, which is how do we focus on the measures that matter? In other words, how do we get to the right KPIs? We realized as we dug into this that for a number of years, we were actually measuring the number of projects, the number of launches that were actually going into market. And that's certainly a way to do it. But we realized that we should be measuring the growth impact of each of those projects. And only when we get to a certain amount of growth impact can we progress projects to the next stage. And so getting that right view on the net incremental growth that we're delivering through our pipeline has completely transitioned the way we think about the value of our pipeline. And it feeds, if you have the right KPI, it feeds that mindset. And so it creates this virtuous cycle of when we're looking for growth, we can learn from that and feed that back into the cycle. And we've learned that with that right KPI, you can start having those deeper conversations early on in the funnel. It's
Can you
natural.
tell us what the KPI? Can you share any details about like the specific KPIs that you're using?
Sure. Yeah, it's something we call net incrementality, which basically is looking at the net incremental growth that each project delivers. So it's not just enough to say that we've gotten great consumer results, because that's absolutely mandatory. It's not enough to say that we've got great differentiating technology, which is absolutely a criteria. We need both of those, but we must also have that growth aspect. So that net incremental growth is absolutely critical. And we actually bring that into the earliest stages of our innovation funnel. And we found that, we're all human. We sometimes, we'll find that certain teams might hesitate to put in a number because they might feel that, if I put in the number, what if it's wrong by the time it launches? But that's part of the culture of innovation. It's part of, we need to understand what we project the value to be early on. We know it's going to be plus or minus a certain percentage. And that's fine. But as we progress and as we learn, we'll begin to tighten that projection. And we'll be able to really understand and prioritize across the funnel to say which projects are going to deliver the most net incremental growth versus others. And that process is starting to really transform the way we think about our pipeline value. How are we truly delivering something meaningfully new to our customers and our consumers? And we've seen tremendous impact from that. And again, taking that KPI and that it feeds the mindset into a really healthy cycle.